live.
We are indeed.
Huh?
Sure are.
No, are we? That's weird. One bracket. Whoa. Oh, public stream. Cool. Never does that anymore. Am I live? Oh, I see the whole table. That's funny. This is framed weirdly.
Well,
We'll fix it.
it's in the Christmas spirit.
'Tis the season here at Blunt Talk. Just share it all around. All the pages. Tis the season for budget cuts and production. 'Tis the season for flag football. 'Tis the season for turkey.
Turkey.
'Tis the season. 'Tis the season. And boy, what a season of 9-man flag football it really was in 2022. And I tell you what, Ross, I can't think of any better way. I don't know what you just did there, but it was nice of you.
I fixed it.
You can tell we're in 2018 mode tonight. This is what happens when your show's like on a whenever I can and feel like it basis.
Well,
Yeah, it's been some weird times.
been a while.
It's been a while since I have gone live. I hear the vibrations though, it's blowing up. Let's get some people on. Ross,
What?
how was your November so far?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. That's good. I'll tell you what a month of flag football it's already been. And it's kind of sad because that's really it. There's no more tournaments after this past weekend. There's no more league after 3 weeks ago. We're in the official, unofficial off season. That weird time of the year where everything is now as cold and dreary and dead as the weather is outside.
It's, yeah, the weather's kind of wild.
Yeah, bro, it's been a little weird in the DMV. Those who played the Capital Classic already know. It was like almost 70 on Saturday, and then by Sunday it's 40. Jeez Louise. Talk about a radical shift from where everything was just a few weeks ago. Or even just a few days ago. I'll tell you what, Ross. What a weekend it was at Capital Classic.
Well, a pretty good weekend of football.
A great weekend of football. And there's only so much more to go in this upcoming year. 2022. Well, 23 by the time we do the Nationals. And speaking of Nationals, what a tournament that's looking like in a couple of months from now. What is that, January 13th, 14th, 15th? Is the time span somewhere around that ballpark? I know it's in that vicinity. But, like, I had a chance to take a look at the brackets earlier.
How do you call people in? I forget. It's been a while.
You hit the add thing.
The ad there.
The add button. There should be a plus.
There's no plus.
What?
There's no plus.
What do you mean?
I don't think I could be more clear.
Is there no way to add people? Is that a thing on there? That's a little weird. Is it, you see two images? Do I have to do this myself?
Probably.
Sad day. Talk about Nationals, though. I'm excited.
I got it.
Oh, I'm proud of you. You get a gold star. All right. Nationals coming up. What is it? 28 and B so far, 7 and A. Pretty damn lopsided.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, a lot of B teams, but like so many B teams that could go out there and win A. As we just seen in the last month or so in this sport, maybe the gap isn't so big after all. Maybe it's just a matter of matchups. Maybe it's a matter of that old saying. What was that old saying, Ross? It's football. What do you hear every game, every sideline? That's one phrase said more than any other. It's football. in the last 2 weeks between Lions TMU and Bad Boys main event, by far 2 of the best games all year. You coming down to the final drive where TMU had a shot to win at the end, only to turn it over when it mattered the most.
That didn't work.
It didn't work at all. They tried to force it in the back of the end zone, picked off instead. Lions get the win, but the Lions got by their teeth. It was close, dude. It was very, very close. You almost got to think about it like TMU with a touchdown there, or even a field goal. A field goal sends it to overtime. Much different game. But they went down tough, just as they have all year. TMU, Ross, is a team that is extremely underrated going into nationals.
Right.
They have been by far one of the best teams all year. You saw them at XFFL, actually, back in April. I had a chance to see them at Charm City Classic. They took the Bad Boys to the brink. They were the only team to be within a score of the Bad Boys on Sunday. They were the only team to be still in the game with the Bad Boys in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes to go on Sunday.
I was going to say you better add the champion Bad Boy.
Back-to-back local tournament champion Bad Boys, let me remind you. Doing a little back-to-back that Rampage did at the end of 2019. You recall that when Rampage went out, they won Clash of York, beat up on the Renegades. Bit of a reversal for some of the Renegade guys who were there this past week, who were part of that 2019 York game.
Huh.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if you were there this past weekend, or even at Rhode Island, hit the call-in button, put the request in. We'll also be keeping an eye on requests all evening. But
I'll be in and out.
You'll see it. You'll see something pop up that'll catch your eye. You'll go look over there and hit it.
Still got kids to deal with.
I know. I'll be looking around too. But the way I look at it is, right now, Ross, this 9-man game is on a whole other level. Because this open bracket season that we saw, whether it be up north in Rhode Island or down south here in D.C., has opened a lot of possibilities. You and I had talked about this on several occasions back in the day when Clash of York was a yearly tournament.
Right.
That was always open bracket. And the only time a team that played A all year even won was the Elite Rebels in the last tournament when they beat Rampage to win it. The other 2 years, Rampage played B all year for the most part. They did play A at Charm City, though. Give them that. They did play A at Capitol and won at that. Ooh, is something there? But I don't know. You're reaching. That's why I was asking. You got a guess?
Don't worry about what I'm doing back here, man.
You trying to add somebody?
Producer, I'm producing.
There we go. We throwing it back to old school tonight. I feel good.
I'm trying to add Ray Wagner, like you said.
I ain't trying to get the champ. We're trying to get Ray on here. Some live connection issues.
I just keep saying that on my side. I think he just needs to accept it.
Yeah, I'm sending him a message right now. We're going to get Ray on the show. Hey, Ray's had a radical 2 years since his debut at Clash of York, too. I'll tell you, a lot of York references of the whole, the team who won this, the quarterback who won this, the open bracket idea that it was always a concept at 9-man, but wasn't commonly used the last few years. We did see a few of them. Locally we had one. Remember the old Summer Sizzler? Who won that tournament, by the way?
Was it TBT?
Might have been. Winter Chiller? Remember the Winter Chiller? Who won that tournament, by the way? Oh, yeah. Or even the 4-State Fours Open Tournament. That was cool. Not a good idea in retrospect, but it was cool. What's this?
There we go.
There you go. So we got something. Is it connected? Jamie, are you going to drive all the way from York or Hanover? I'm not sure where he's from. To undisclosed location on the border of Maryland, West Virginia, and Virginia along a river somewhere. I'm trying to get him on there. The hell you talking about, Stat, man? They beat us by 6. What do you mean, Eddie? Is he talking about like Clash of York 19? That's a blowout. Rampage beat him by 3 scores. Now, what are we talking about?
Jamie Wood.
What's Jamie Wolf's? Wait, now I'm really confused. There's 2 Jamies now commenting at whoa. Oh, okay. Now I need a Z-Man to join in, and it'd be like way too much at that point. But I'll tell you, I like the open bracket system. I like the open bracket matchups.
Yeah.
It does add a lot of. Saw a lot of different matchups on Sunday, and even some upsets. You know, Petty went out there and beat the Elite Rebels.
Tell Wagner to call back in.
I've messaged him. Oh, he's messaged me back. Well, that's quick. He said he sent an invite.
Yeah, I couldn't accept it.
It
wouldn't let me go back to accept it, other than when I had to go back and clear the whole search and tell him to send another one. I got him this time.
Okay, good. It sounds like it's one of those like call things where both people call each other. Anyways, I really enjoyed sitting back and watching the lives from Rhode Island. It told a story. You know, TMU, they beat Misfits, who had played a competition all year early on. They didn't put up a lot of points against Misfits. It was a 6-3 dogfight. But that's how TMU plays. They are a scrappy team that will play you close no matter what. They're not going to give up. They're not going to give in. They're always going to be out there fighting. Rhode Island Lions, you got to give them credit. Once again, they pull a trifecta. They win the league both seasons, fall and spring, and they come out there and end up winning the Rhode Island Flag Bowl as well. Congratulations once again to the Lions going out there getting the dub. But, you know, that tournament and Capital Classic, and, you know, we go back to Clash of York. All the close matchups over the years and upsets between smaller teams and A team. You know, TBT, we beat the Maryland Bullets. And, you know, you go back to Clash of York's championships over the years. Renegades beat Scorpions and Aftermath back-to-back to win 2 A teams, who a week later were playing for the OMFL championship in the Mud Bowl. And it played A at Nationals. That's just how it goes. These matchups, it's all about football, how you look at your opponent from a psychological perspective. So you're saying Live's having issues? Sad day. It has that. I'm trying to get Ray on, but unfortunately...
Just keep saying adding.
Just keep saying adding?
Yep.
I'm going to try. This is why I never liked Facebook Live. This is why I was paying for Zoom for a bit. I need to get back on Zoom. We'll try it again next time. I didn't know if I was going to do a show or not this week. It's been up and down for the last couple of weeks, couple months, all year. You know how it goes. But no, you take a look at Rhode Island. That showed a lot of close matchups. The Lions and Misfits were the sole A teams for the most part. But, you know, teams like 148 always come out there with a lot of firepower. You go back and look at Capital weekend. There was an upset with Patty beating the Elite Rebels early Sunday morning. Now, you could say the Rebels have changed a good bit. TJ Holston, as we saw, is not the quarterback on the Rebels right now. Deshaun Shields is on there starting. He's doing work. He's putting in time. He did really good. He actually beat the Misfits on Saturday. So there is some potential to that team. They're going to be playing B at Nationals. But like I've been saying all year, it's just, and I've said for a while, it's all about matchups. Who can win in the trenches? Who wins the skill position battles? Who comes out with the better strategy? Who makes the most adjustments? Who is able to go out there and pull off the impossible? Moving comments. And, you know, we saw it this past weekend with the Bad Boys run. Now, some could say the Bad Boys are a borderline A team. They should be playing A-ball. But we weren't saying that about the Bad Boys a year ago at this time. The Bad Boys in 2021 was a team that had a great start. Don't get me wrong. That first month showed a lot of potential. They got to the semis in Ocean City. Only lost by a point to Rampage in that one. But then they turned around and ended up going on a downturn after that. They ended up losing 11 out of their next 15. They were going one and done in tournaments on Sundays. They weren't doing very well in league play either. They had an offense that was just kind of crumbling. And the team itself was just nowhere near the dynamic that everybody was hoping to see. The turning point, if you ask me, Clash of York 3. Once again, York. This is kind of weird. Everything goes back to York. Strange how that turns out. Clash of York 3. Go back to that. They go in there and they beat the Misfits in a Sunday game in the first round quarterfinal matchup, playing small ball and just doing what they had to do to win. That's what, and right there at that very moment is when the team just completely changed as a whole. And you could see it on terms of how they came out and performed. That team was a whole lot better by the end of that fall. And then you go in the Nationals, you sign Ray Wagner, and all of a sudden you got a team that's over the top. You bring in arguably the next great, best 9-man quarterback you'll see out there. And Ray has shown it with what he's done so far in this sport. You go back over the last 2 years of Ray's career.
Trying to call him in, it ain't working.
It's what we call Facebook. This is why I've never been a fan of this system. This is why I invested in Zoom. Zoom is actually good. I don't have Zoom right now. I think if I do national shows, it's time to get back on Zoom. If anybody else wants to try to call in, feel free. We'll just see what happens. It's Facebook. You know how it goes. Take a look at everything going on, though. Like, Ray's career the last 2 years has been a whirlwind. You go back to Ocean City. They were the runner-up. Baez Auto, the team he was on there. You go back to Clash of York, too. Gusto Land, at the end of Saturday, was the number 1 seed, 2-0. They put up 31 points on the Scorpions. And you could say, well, the Scorpions really going out there and trying it Saturday. Greg Proctor wasn't there. They weren't really doing their thing. But you get back and watch that game, you could see the early potential of Wagner as a quarterback. And then it evolves just throughout 2021. You see it at Ocean City, guiding Baez Auto to that championship game. Going out there and destroying a Riot Squad defense that had shut down 2 great quarterbacks, and Matt Eisenberg and Tommy Lightfoot the day prior. Yeah, this is why Facebook Live is not my friend. Just talking, we'll talk in my thoughts. You know how we do it. It's a shame, but that's usually why that's kind of why I've abandoned Facebook Live for the most part. I don't know how other guys get it right.
So people are trying to call in, you can't hit the accept button on this side.
On this side?
It's blacked out, as in, like, on your phone.
That's bizarre.
It's blacked out. But then when you go to invite them, that doesn't work either.
That's weird. Yeah, I don't get that either. Okay, so I'm with the phone then. Android.
No, I think it's Facebook.
Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't blame my phone?
No.
I do blame Facebook for that too. Facebook app is kind of weird. I'll just do what I can. We'll talk about what we can. Sorry about that, fellas. I do want to do a couple shows leading up to Nationals, though, just because I want to at least promote it some way or another. I'll make sure to get Zoom for that. Just so we can do what we used to do to make it fun. But, like, to go back over it all, this was a team, this was like, Ray and Bad Boys was the perfect combination. Ray on Baez made them an A squad. Right. We forget, he almost took down Main Event last year. That 28-24 game at the Charm City Classic. That absolute dog fight in Baltimore. You go back as well to, like, of what he was doing on Baez. He got that team very far. And then he ends up splitting with them. He signs on the Bad Boys for Nationals, guides them to the semifinals. They do fall short to the Spartans. However, with that was momentum. There was a chance to build for the next season. And so they did. Ocean City, runner-up. They went out there in Charm City, won the B bracket, destroyed Outcast in that championship. This past weekend, they beat Main Event. They hold everybody else to a combined 12 points between Dream, Titans, and Rampage. And because of that, right now, they're sitting pretty as your Capital Classic champions. And I'll tell you, going into Nationals this upcoming year, it's going to be intriguing to see how these teams all come out. Because if the plan is for an open bracket, because I know everybody's talking about that right now, conversation at the moment. If that is the strategy, if that is the plan, it is my loss, Jamie. I will take that. You know what? Hang up and restart. Is that? You know what? We should try that. We can try that.
Try that.
Yeah, because I really don't want to just sit here and monologue for the next 5 minutes.
All right. Let's try that. Just
and that's
stay
garbage.
tuned.
Stay tuned. Is that what this is?
We already did that, man. This is take 2.
Oh, yeah. You're right. We should just go ahead and just start where we were at. Go ahead, fire away. Share, reshare, fix this. Why does the lighting look so much better immediately? Did you notice that too?
The whole picture and everything.
That's really weird.
We switched out phones and all.
And we went to the streaming phone. Maybe that'll be a difference. Anybody wants to be a guest, call thing or thing dies thing.
What?
Thing.
Well, we got it. Anyway, we got to try to call in.
Donna wants to call in.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just.
He wants to test.
Well, it's doing the same shit. It's just, oh, there we go.
Does it actually work? I got my shit together.
Okay.
Goddamn right I did, Jamie.
There you go, buddy. I'm getting off here. I just wanted to test it, make sure it works.
Wrong Jamie.
Wrong Jamie, but this Jamie was there.
Wolf, come on. I got my shit together. I'm ready to go. I mean, okay, that's actually kind of a lie. I can't say I have my shit together. That's a lie. But this is work. This is functional. So that's
I think it was a phone problem and everything.
I'm pretty sure it was
yeah.
I should have just used that one as the main and used this one to 3 comments.
We have the wolf.
Let's
The
go.
goat wolf.
Do we have
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Jamie?
Jamie, how the hell you been, man? I haven't seen you in forever now. What was it like?
Been good. Just got back from basketball practice.
Basketball practice? Good.
My
How's that
daughter.
going?
Going well.
Okay.
Getting ready for the travel season, you know?
I haven't done travel basketball, so I can't relate on that. But I hear it's a rigorous schedule. Like a few friends of mine have been going all over the place with their niece. So I can imagine.
Yeah, it's my daughter's team. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Glad to see.
So what's your thought on one division?
Here's my thought on it. I can see where both sides are coming from because the way I look at it personally is this. As a competitor myself, I've never cared who I faced. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
When I had my own teams, whenever I was a player, I've never cared personally. But I also get where you could kill a team off very quickly who just doesn't succeed going against hard competition all the time.
Okay.
And I do believe there are steps to building this. And that's something that I've believed in since I grew up through the league system myself back in the day. And even when I had my teams, there are levels to this. That is a fact, especially in the trenches. Give me what?
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying?
Do we have 2 guests at one time?
Yes, you can actually. Who's trying to call in elsewise?
I'm on already.
No. Hold on. Let Jamie talk. Let Jamie talk. Break him down. Jamie has the forum. I'm sorry, Chav. I'm sorry, Chav. This is the president joining in. The president's jumping in. I got to Chav for a moment.
So here's my thought on it. I'll give you my thought. If everyone was together, one thing to keep in mind: not everyone makes it to Sunday. You're probably spending 3 times your amount on your flight this year, right? Than people usually do. So let's say a team comes in and blows out a team. Now, differential first tiebreaker. Let's see that team doesn't even get a chance to go to Sunday now because of that. Is that fair?
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And is this is this an 8 problem, or is this a 9-man problem? What do you think?
I had a conversation with somebody at the beginning of the year. When are we going to get to an issue where people don't go to B tournaments or any tournaments in general because they're afraid they're not going to be able to beat teams that are, in my opinion,
almost as good as A teams, depending on the matchups. Like I said, Bad Boys main event this past weekend, it showed that Bad Boys could hang. Now, if main event brought every single body and the Bad Boys brought every single body, would it be different?
Yep.
Yeah. Because at that point, everyone's using their full arsenal. Everyone's having their full resources. Main event, they got more talent than what we saw at DC this past weekend. If you go back and watch that video, you see their whole sideline.
Yep.
That's all they had. It wasn't like they were coming down 30, 35 guys. And, some people will say, well, are they flying people in? What's it matter? It don't matter to me. As if I was a competitor, I'd say, so what? I said it back in the day. I went against teams that had sponsorships, they had more money, they had more experience. My first team was a bunch of guys between the ages of 17, 18 to 23 that knew nothing about this aside from it's about pulling flags and playing football. That's all most of my guys knew back in the day.
There's an easy way to fix this. You know what the easy way to fix this is? You cannot, if you're on another team and you play for another one, you're locked into that team for 6 months.
Okay, I like that.
But how do you manage that? You make everyone manage that. So you can't have at Charm City, main event can't have Jarrett. They can't have Jarvis. They can't have T. They can't have those guys. And maybe you're only allowed a certain spots on your roster. You have to take someone off of it to put someone on. Some people possibly can go to another team and help them, and they jump ahead of their other team in the standings. Why would you do that?
There's that too. Yeah, why would they help them? I agree with that.
Yep.
Now, could it maybe work in a similar way to the loaning system in soccer? I don't know if you're familiar with that between Premier League and MLS.
No clue.
It's just basically an agreement between clubs to allow a player to go. Usually, the roster spot is taken up with that player. I'd imagine in this scenario, they'd be sitting one guy in favor of that guy, and maybe there's point compensation involved where if that team wins because of those players, maybe that other team gets points for it too.
Yep.
That would be the idea of that in my eyes, but I also know flag football, another man in this region and most other places, it's a free market. It's jump in if you're available. If you reach the roster max and you're on there, it's fine as long as you're not playing for another team in the league. And we've seen teams travel to tournaments. You talk about main event using Jared over in tournaments. We've seen teams who go up north, they go down south using guys that they're just from their league. Our guy Skiddy and Preston. They go out there with the team tournaments, and it's just guys they pick up from their league out there in St. Louis.
Yep.
And
I mean, it hurts me. If I do this, it hurts me. Then main event may not be able to come to my tournament. Hurts directors.
Yep, I agree with you. That's where you're coming from too, as a director. And that's kind of, and I believe that is something that a lot of players don't think about.
Yep.
And I myself, I'm guilty of that as well, because I look at it as a competitor standpoint. But I also realize that from the director standpoint and the standpoint of growing teams, growing players, and everything else, and at least trying to make the experience work with the guys, because I could see we're going down to nationals and getting a pool of main event Punishers and Lions results in 0
El Champion Ray Wagner.
Ray's here now? Okay. All right.
What's going on, Joey?
Ray, how you doing? We're going to hopefully not have another fuck up for this show.
Should be all right.
This take 3?
We got an iPhone on the case now. So
We got an iPhone, yeah. Better than my cheap-ass Android. That wasn't that cheap. But there's no bad boy jersey, Eddie. Sorry. The national champions are still main event. Just like Jamie was talking about just now, there's a lot of reasons why it can't happen and why it won't and why it shouldn't. But at the same time, I can see the itch and desire amongst guys to make it happen because there is a lot to prove right now. Like, I felt like what the Bad Boys did this weekend was an awesome achievement. And it wasn't just they beat main event. it wasn't just that. This is a team that held Rampage, Dream, and the Maryland Titans to a combined 12 points in 3. People are ignoring that right now.
Yeah, our defense balled on Sunday.
Yeah, and people also are ignoring the fact that after falling behind 10-0, they only gave up 10 points the rest of the way to main event. You take away that bad start, this is a team that only surrendered a total of 22 points. Overall, 32 was what it was by the end of the weekend. 20 by main event, 12 by everybody else. That just puts in perspective this A-B split and how much difference it could really be. I don't know. Ray, you've only been in the game for 2 years so far for 9-man at least. Football-wise, you'd probably go back a lot longer than that. But what is your perspective so far, having played with Baez, Otto, and B, and A, having played with the Bad Boys in B and in open tournaments, and we actually showed yesterday your debut with Gusto Land against the Scorpions back at Clash of York too, which at the time the Scorpions were the hottest team in the region.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, the biggest difference probably between A and B is 2 things. It's depth and the trenches. You know, I think, like, personally with Bad Boys and when I was playing with Baez, both the teams, we had the skill guys to play A, for sure. It was just the big guys and then the rotation that you needed to compete with these teams that show up with 30 dudes out there.
I agree with that. You know, we saw that with the Baez Auto main event game first last year back at Charm City Classic. Early on, Baez did struggle the first 2 drives where they weren't moving the ball, and you hit Stokes on like a 70-yard touchdown pass to blow the game wide open. And
Yeah.
I remember being on main event sideline, and they were a little startled. They didn't expect that to happen right out the gate like that.
Yeah, I think.
But that's the thing is you don't know who you're going to face.
Right.
From one
I think
week to the next in the B bracket. And
I think with that,
A has long been facing the same competition.
I think
I'm sorry,
that
man.
main event game. Now you're good. I think that main event game when I was with Baez, we were trying to do too much stuff downfield, and then I realized that their defensive line was just super tough. So we had to start getting rid of the ball real quick and just letting the athletes do what they do. And that's pretty much what we do. What I do with Bad Boys now is I try to keep it simple. You know, just get the ball in people's hands, let them do what they do, and then once that defense starts coming down, then we'll take our shots. But I try not to take too many shots. Sometimes I get a little carried away with it, but you know, just get the ball in the guy's hands and make somebody pull a flag.
I think that's honestly something that you've done a lot better with is to taking the shots down the field and taking less risks and relying on the guy's skill set. And
Yeah.
I've seen it like day one, you were already there. Like then people will say Scorpion Saturday game it meant nothing. They weren't really prepared. Ray Proctor may not have been. But you can go back and watch the potential. Like go back to the plays where you can see Ray in the backfield scanning the defense, seeing what's open, finding the guys to throw to. And 31 points later, and Gusto Land was the number 1 seed entering Sunday.
Yeah.
You go back later on with what you did at Ocean City and the performance that you had with Baez Auto in that tournament. Going out there and putting up more points on Riot Squad than what X-Dogs and Blackhawks did the day prior by at least 3 times the margin. Then coming out there, dueling Brick Squad to the end, falling short with Rampage though, but that was just a growing step towards greatness that came at Charm City. You go back to that performance, going out there dueling Mike D for the first time. And I got to say, 2 games into this, it's 1-1, but the point difference is 48-47 in favor of Mike. And yet the difference is that missed extra point at the end of Sunday's game.
Yeah.
That's how close it is.
We had 2 real good games. They were there. I like playing against Mike. I like playing against main event. I always want to try to play the best teams.
And I believe that's where a lot of players are coming from now.
Yeah.
You know, there's always been like that philosophy in 9-man. You know, you yourself, Rolfie, you were building the Warriors.
Yeah.
You know it. It's you don't want to go all in immediately. You want to learn the game, grow in it, and then once you're ready to travel, and then build from B to A. But I think a lot of the competitors now are ready to just compete. You know, your background, Ray. You played, I believe, arena ball before.
Yeah.
Where did you play at in high school? And did you play high school, college ball? I imagine.
Yeah, I'm from Harrisburg. I played high school ball at Susquehanna Township, and then I played college at East Stroudsburg, and then
Okay.
I played in Europe for 3 years, and then arena ball 3 years after that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Terrell Barnes, Barnes and Howard are actually the two dudes that got me in the flag. Howard, actually, the first flag tournament I ever played was the Blick. I think it was 3 years ago now. Right before I played in the Clash of York, Barnes hit me up and got me out there to play the Blick. And I knew nothing about flag football at the time. And I went out there and played that tournament and saw like the environment and how dudes actually took it seriously. And I was like, yeah, I could definitely play this. This is fun.
And for those who don't know, Blick is the 8-man YAFFL style played on a full-sized field. Very fun tournament. I went out there a couple years ago. A couple questions in the chat from Mr. Mike D. Ray. He's asking if you play any other styles in flag, and he asked how old you were.
I'm 33, and I mean, football is football. I'll play any style, you know. I played in the 8-man league down in York, and I played in a 5-man league in like the Harrisburg area with like some friends of mine, and played one 5-man tournament that we won. But I mean, football is football. I prefer 9-man. That's my favorite style.
Agreed 100% on that.
It's like the closest to real football to me. You know, 8-man, they release the linemen and all that, and I mean, it's just a different. The quarterback sometimes like the Blick when we beat Future of Retro or something like that in the Blick
Future of the
last
Retro
year.
Invaders, 8-man team down in Virginia.
But our quarterback was like 18 yards deep in shotgun and just caught it, and then all the linemen released right away.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm playing with Baez, and I had like a 9-man line. You know, I had like the actual Baez line, and I didn't release anybody.
And I remember watching Baez, the Future of the Retro, and just thinking, this is such a bizarre clash of philosophies. Because it was Baez running like a borderline 9-man offense, and then you got FOTR running their FFWCT style 8-man attack. And
it was different.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's in a game where it's kind of a mix in the middle because, you know, York, they use the 3-down lineman.
Right.
But the guards can go out for 5 yards, I believe, to catch.
They can go anywhere. So can the center.
Oh, so they can go deep. Okay, usually I see a lot of guards on shorter routes. That's how I was interpreting. Okay.
Yeah. And the York League, everybody's eligible. Everybody has flags, which is, I mean, that's fine. But I like 9-man.
9-man has been my love and joy since 1997. You saw that video early on we showed on the page. That's the 9-man I remember as a kid. A lot more like the tackle style. You had running the ball. There was a lot of downfield blocking. 5-down lineman sets were being used frequently.
Yeah.
The style we got now, I feel like, is more akin to what you see in both college and the pros now. The spread attack has been more prominent. You don't see as many under center players anymore. And you also see a lot more guys out there in the shotgun 3, 4, 5 wide receiver sets. A couple questions in the chat once again. Skinny wants to know, how do you feel about opening nationals up to one bracket?
Me personally, I'm fine with it. Like I said earlier, I like playing the best teams, and I think our Bad Boys team is our offense, especially. Like, I think we can play with anybody. And don't get me wrong, the way our defense plays Sunday, we can definitely play with anybody. It's just, like I said, it's just the depth and making sure you got guys out there where you can get a rotation on the defensive line and the offensive line. Yeah, I'd be fine with an open bracket. I want to play everybody and anybody.
Just do it.
I'm in the same mentality. Don't get me wrong. I get what JD was saying earlier, but you know what? If this one Nationals, if everybody's on board with it, and we're just all in the mood, I mentioned in the chat early on, 36 teams cut down to 24 for Sunday. Suddenly, you got to play a full season in a weekend to win a tournament, which gives you that league-like feel of a mix of A and B competition. But also, it's a gauntlet to the finish.
I mean, it's football. Anybody can win a single game. Like this last weekend in DC, I remember, I don't know what the team, it was a couple teams I heard. There was dudes just saying, like, well, we're pretty much all out here playing for second place, because main event was out there. And I'm like, why? They got to still play football, tip pass here, drop pass here. The game can turn quickly.
More guys need this mentality.
Yeah. 100%.
You don't know how many teams I've been on where I've had guys just look on the other side and say, look at the all-stars they got and what we got. I'm like, man, who cares?
Why you not get in the car and fucking driving here, man?
Yeah,
they're on the same field as us right now, so we got as good a chance as they do. I say that most of the time, some teams that I played on the circuit, they wouldn't like the open tournament. I know that.
I agree. So trust me, I do believe that there are divisions to this, and we've seen like matchups even in the B division where there's been blowouts.
Yeah.
Bad Boys, you guys went through a tear at Charm City, and even in this tournament, your last two tournaments, there hasn't been many teams close to you. In fact, the only teams that have been within striking distance on Sunday were TMU and Main Event, the two teams
and
that have been in the championship.
TMU was a solid team. That was a good-ass game. And I think, didn't they just play in the championship in the last tournament up in Rhode Island?
Sure, at Rhode Island last weekend. An interception in the back of the end zone prevented a win. They were that close to upsetting the Lions in their home area.
They were a solid team. Like, teams like that, like, they can compete against anybody on any day.
I fully believe that myself. Like, I've gotten to watch TMU play. They're a scrappy bunch. They're going to go out there and play. They don't care who the opponent is.
Mm-hmm. I know it's excuse me, talking to the dudes on our team with the Bad Boys, we got the same mentality. Just play ball. We can play with anybody. Line up. You gotta get the job done. That's all it is.
And that's what I feel like a lot of more teams need is that mentality of just play ball. Like, Ross, you talked about it when you had the Warriors back in the day. You guys never backed down to anybody, no matter who it was. You guys played AFN very close in a Washington County League game when AFN had a lot of their guys that time. You go back to ADR as well. ADR, when they were playing the A circuit, you were having guys who were rec-level players going out there and almost knocking them off in a playoff game. Any given Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, you live by that. Ray lives by that. I live by that.
Yeah.
I felt that way since I started in 9-man.
The more the team has that mentality, the better off everybody is.
And that's the problem is you get too many guys who are scared, who look at someone and go, wow, look at him. Like, what's it?
Yeah, I don't get that. But you get a lot of these guys that play on like different teams at tournaments and stuff too. Like if Baez still wanted me to be playing with Baez, I probably would have never left them. They hit me up and said they were going with another quarterback last year, so that's when I was like, all right, I'll go somewhere else. I have no plans to leave Bad Boys at all because I just want to play ball. I don't care who I play with, and they brought me on, and we got a good thing going. So
we said it a year ago on the show. What a perfect marriage!
Yeah.
Like the one thing Bad Boys had been missing. And then, Ray, you go on a team that has all the support you need right there and then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we got our rotation of receivers. We got 8 guys that can go out there, and it doesn't matter who has anybody can get the ball. All I did, I brought Kirk Peters. Me and him graduated high school together. He was my receiver in high school. So I just told Bad Boys, I was like, I got him and Barnes because I played against Barnes in high school and college, and then with him in arena football. So I was like, I got 2 receivers I'm bringing with me, and that's about it.
I'll be honest, Kirk has been impressive to watch. Like, I go back to when he first came on the scene with you at Baez last year, and I get back, the biggest thing was that whole Sunday at Ocean City, he had a big performance. Against Main Event, he had about 7 catches. I want to
you
say
talking about
2
Kirk?
touchdowns. Huh?
You talking about Kirk?
Yeah.
Kirk's first time playing was in Charm City last year with Baez. He didn't play Ocean City.
I thought he may have played. Okay, maybe I'm just remembering.
Nah,
okay.
we had Barnes out there in Ocean City, but I brought Kirk on. He played Charm last year. It was the first tournament he did.
You know what? I might be crossing the dream game with OC for some reason in my head. Yeah, that first dream game on Saturday, because I covered both of those games.
Yep.
And my memory, yeah. Like, no, I remember Kirk coming onto the scene and just not being sure what his name was or who he was at first.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just destroying everybody, like, in sight. Nobody knew how to guard him.
He's an athlete. He hasn't – I don't think he played – after high school, he played college basketball. He didn't even play football in college. He's a basketball player. He's just an athlete.
And honestly, you kind of need a basketball player on this level of flag football. Think about the cardio and conditioning and how different it is. Like, you'd be able to go out there and be able to run like that. Because flag football, when you think about it, is basketball on grass more so at times. It can be football, but there is a lot of basketball elements to it, a lot of fast-moving pieces.
Man, that's a stretch, bro.
Yeah, I don't think. Hear me out on it. Hear me out. More so in the smaller styles, like 5-man and everything else. But you do see a lot of teams come out there and try to move at a quicker tempo and pace.
Right.
There's a lot to explain. But anyways.
Maybe 5-man, I'll agree with that, but that's about it.
Speaking of 5-man, Mike D recommends 5-man non-contact because they're going to be using that for the Olympics in a couple of years. If you're interested in trying to get into the Olympics.
It's football. I'll play it.
Imagine that, like turning on NBC and seeing Ray Wagner right there for Team USA
Shit,
in the first Olympics in 2028.
I might be a little too old for that now. 2028?
That's what it's going to be. Yeah, they're going to do it in LA at 2028 flag football.
I'm going to be 39 by then, man. I don't know. My arm.
Mike's 41. He's still playing non-contact
from this weekend.
Doc's 57. He still plays.
Hey, good for them.
John McGraw over at York, he's like 60 years old. He was playing for Jungle Boys back at Eights a few months ago.
Yeah. Hey, if I can still throw, if I can go out there and still play, I'll play as long as I can.
We're the generation where age is just a number when it comes to athletic ability. With Tom Brady, LeBron James, all the other athletes in professional sports who have the longevity. Like, we're in a rare generation of talent that arguably has the longest longevity of any other sporting generation.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is here in the comments.
I can't even see the comments.
You already answered that one question. I'll move on here. Scrolling down. I don't think I see. I'll keep going. Neutral Rich said, okay, he already said something about the Blick story, but you already talked about Blick a couple of weeks earlier on, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Going over it. I'm catching up from earlier. From what everybody was saying, I kind of stopped there for a moment to see what was going on. Too much talking. You guys did do too much talking. I can't even keep up in this chat. Feb, who's the best quarterback in the DMV right now? Well, if we're talking DMV teams, it's this guy on the Bad Boys. Now, that being said, he's from Pennsylvania, so he's not DMV. Otherwise, if I were to say who the best quarterback in this particular region is, if I was talking flag football overall, I still stand by my choice of Chris Boone because of what Chris Boone has done in just 9-man and all other styles been in. That's a man who was on CBS last year playing for a championship.
From what I've seen, I don't know all the teams that are in the DMV in those areas. The dude for the Scorpions is nice. I think he can be all right. He's going to be real good. Yeah, I like him. Actually, who surprised me a lot was when we played Southside. I like their quarterback. I thought he threw a good ball.
I don't have his name on hand, but like I hear he's been putting numbers up in math. I haven't had a chance to cover much Southside yet, but that's the team I want
Yeah,
to do.
I went down for the playoffs for Bad Boys a couple weeks ago, but and saw a couple of the teams. But other than that, I really don't know a whole lot of the teams. I just show up and play. But from what I've seen, the Scorpions quarterback's nice. Boone gets the job done.
Chris Price is still one to nominate. Chris Price
Rampage is quarterback.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Again, he's from PA, but he does play for a team in this region.
I don't know where.
A lot of good PA quarterbacks when you think about it.
In Charm on Saturday, we lost to the Mercenaries, and I have no idea who that quarterback was, but he was fast as shit. I don't know what his name is, but that man, awesome. He was so fast. He was the reason we lost that game on Saturday. They got two. Well, first of all, they got two onside kicks, which was crazy. I've never seen that before. Yeah, but it was like 4th and 10, and he took off. 4th and 10, and he took off for like 60 or 70 on us.
That was the team that they were almost close to beating TMU as well in that Sweet 16 matchup in Charm. You could have been a rematch on Sunday in that quarterfinals.
Oh, and Tay too, obviously.
Tay's a good choice, yeah.
Yeah,
I've watched him. I've watched him grow up as a quarterback in 9-man.
If I could run like that, I'd add a whole new element to my game.
That run you had the other day blew my mind. I could not believe you had those kind of wheels. Like, don't get me wrong, I've seen you backpedal fast before, but I never seen you take off like that.
I'm not like I can run the ball if I have to. I'm not fast by any means, but I can run if I have to. I just prefer not to. And when I got Eddie and Lil and Willie and all them, Kyrie out there running around, just get them the ball and let them do all the running.
And I don't blame you because, like, when you have those kind of weapons around you, the matchups are always there. Yeah. And it's just a matter of timing every pass, every route, every play properly.
That's all it is. Just, I mean, I watch a lot of these flag teams, and I see the quarterbacks, like, running around in the backfield a lot and holding the ball. And I'm like, man, you had that out on the break right away or that slant right away. Just get on the ball and let them go. Make somebody pull a flag. One missed flag, and it could be a 40, 50-yard touchdown.
One of the most underrated parts of flag football is flag pulling.
And also route running. Route running is important, too.
Yeah, and we got 8 guys that can run routes, too, and catch the ball.
It's a loaded team right now. Like, this Bad Boy squad has a lot of momentum. And I was doing a rankings for the year based on achievement. The only problem was time does not exist for me to fully get around to finishing that. But when I last checked it about a month ago, Bad Boys were sitting in the top 5, only down by about 5 points from first place. If I were to guess, they'd be at first place right now because of what this team has done all year. You take a look at the resume. Ocean City beat bracket runner-up, only a 6-point loss to PME. They were runner-up as well at OMFFL with a loss to the Scorpions. I think that I wasn't there for that one, so I didn't get a chance to see it.
We lost that one 19-12.
Another close
dude
one.
Made a crazy one-handed pick on me. I tried to throw a deep ball to Eddie, and he made a hell of a pick. We were driving at the end of the game, and he just one-handed snagged it. I was like, I can't be mad at that.
Not at all. Not at all. Charm City, you guys went out there, 1B bracket, dominated that whole day. The only real team to compete, like we said, TMU. That was a tie ball game with 5 minutes to go. And they only had 14 too. That's the scary part about that team. Like, it doesn't matter what numbers they got, as long as they got their guys ready to go and ready to play, they're set.
I think that's the only tournament. The Baltimore tournament's really the only one that we had depth. We had a lot of guys at. Like, even this past weekend, Saturday we were short. Sunday I think we finished with 22 guys, which I guess 22 is a good number. But Baltimore we were out there with a lot of guys and had to rotate. And I think that's why we played so well on Sunday, was because we had a 7 receiver rotation. We had like 7, 8 DBs that were able to rotate, so nobody was gassed, and it showed.
And the thing about it is, so like, that's the thing. This is a really deep team that didn't really have everybody this past weekend. You guys
we were
only
missing
had
a lot of
about
guys.
20 total, I believe, correct?
It was something like that, 20, 22, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, like this wasn't a full-blown 35-man bad boy squad that went up against a light main event. This was 2 teams that were relatively even in numbers. They had a lot of key personnel on both sides. And at the end of the day, the main difference at the end was the fact that you all persevered through a 10-0 deficit, fought back, never gave up, and rose to the occasion, where a lot of teams who would have fallen behind that early the main event like that would have folded at the base of the name itself.
And like nothing against Rampage, because I think they're a hell of a team. Obviously, they beat me in the chip last year when I was with Bias, but once we beat main event, it didn't matter who we played in that chip. We knew we were winning the game.
Absolute facts. And like, you guys ran through it. That was 20-0, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
20-0 there, 17-0 on Titans, 28-12 on Dream. You take a look at those 3 games outside of the main event game. That is a result of 65-12 in 3 games against competition.
Shout out to the defense.
Yeah, rose to the occasion. Shout out to the offensive line. Did main event get a sack on you at all in that game?
I don't think so.
That's crazy to think about. And we looked at how deep that main event line was.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't take too many sacks, so I'm usually getting rid of the ball pretty quick. But yeah, the whole line. I mean, for that defensive line that they were going against, they did a hell of a job. They balled. And then we brought Zach down. He played tight end Sunday, and he was a big difference maker too.
And like, that's the thing about it. When you take a look at what this team did, the potential is there going and be nationals. But there's one roadblock that has been in their way, and not just their way, it got in the Rays' way, I believe, last year. The St. Louis Spartans.
Oh, yeah.
The Atlanta champions.
I definitely won't play them again. I don't think I played a very good game that game, but I mean, I got on with Bad Boys at Nationals last year. So Carlton played pretty much the first 3 games, most of the games, because I had no timing with the receivers. I didn't know who could do what, And yeah, I definitely won't play Spartans again, because I think with the way we're playing right now, I have a much better feel for the offense and everything. So I think it'd be a hell of a game.
I think it's going to be a battle if we do see that again. No. But like,
and I mean, even like down there in Florida, when Carlton play, Carlton can play. He's a baller too. It's not like they needed me at quarterback. They had a guy that could do the same thing.
Carlton, to this day, still had one of the best game plans I ever watched when they beat the Misfits at Clash of York last year.
Yeah.
They played a perfect game. Like, I've never seen a team play a more perfect game than what Carlton and the Bad Boys did on offense in that game.
Yeah.
They played small ball, relatively speaking. I think Misfits maybe had about 5 drives total, but they didn't commit any turnovers. They executed every play properly, and at the end of the day, they outscored them. And that was the thing that mattered the most, was getting the points, getting the stops. And if I ever were to go back and show film of what a great fundamental flag football win looks like, it's that game.
Yeah.
You okay over there?
I don't think I saw that game, but I definitely believe it.
I recommend it if you ever get time. That's actually a really good game and a really good study in how to play smart football, shut down a team that is more on terms of numbers and more on terms of what they had in personnel. Like the Bad Boys at that time were going through a rough patch where the offense was non-existent for the most part, and it was affecting the team as a whole. And Misfits came in locked and loaded. They were ready to go. They were 1 seed, and I'll give it to Carlton. He had a perfect game plan on terms of what he did at that quarterback position, and on terms of execution for everybody else across the board. That was an excellent, excellent game. And as I say, that's something you got to study if you are ever trying to learn what a perfect flag football game looks like.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Strong recommendation.
I would do that.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what this franchise does going forward.
Yeah, I'm excited for Nationals, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we got a good group going down there, and I think we got a chance for sure.
And I actually think you got a chance as well. You know what? I'm going to see if I can pull up a photo on my end of what the teams are right now. B Nationals is looking really stacked. Mentioned the Bad Boys, not just the Bad Boys, but Rampage, who we saw this past week at the Chip. They're going to be down there as well. Maryland Venom, Elite Rebels, Maryland Titans, No Mercy, Misfits.
Elite Rebels, I thought they were A.
Who's that?
I thought Elite Rebels were A.
They are coming down to B bracket for this one. They did make a change of quarterback. We talked about it. Ray Shields stepping in. Yeah, so we'll see. It is a bit of a different dynamic. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully after National, because I told Mike and Dave when I got on Bad Boys, I was like, I definitely want to start playing A. So hopefully after Nationals this year, that's the plan is Bad Boys will be playing A.
I hope so as well, because I think that is a step that this team is ready to take. Mentioned Elite Rebels, Maryland Titans, of course. No Mercy coming down to play in B. Misfits will be playing B for this one as well. Rideout will be playing in B. Dream, Team Petty, as mentioned, the St. Louis Spartans. Who for a couple guys on that Bad Boys team, particularly the Renegades crew, that's been their kryptonite for the last 2 Nationals. Go Mode, that's a St. Louis team. Another St. Louis team, the Pack, they're coming over. They were the B bracket runner-up in 2018. Yes. Show Me Football coming over from St. Louis.
That's another thing I like about Nationals is you get to play different teams.
That I agree, 100%. That's why that's the beauty of it. You go down to a beautiful city, you get to play football at a great facility, and on top of that, it's against guys that you'll never ever get a chance to see anywhere else but there.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Long Island Ducks, Dark Side, TBD, Massachusetts Titans. The TMU, as we mentioned, Nomads, Rhode Island Spartans, 148 Outlaws, Bahamas Predators, Bahamas Lions. So 2 Bahamas teams making the trip this time around. 717 Elite, OTG Alabama, which I think that was – what was that Alabama team that was down national? Birmingham Heat. I want to say they might be connected to Birmingham Heat. Whalers out of Connecticut. They were just in Rhode Island. And No Excuses, who made a run last year all the way to the Final Four. Remember, No Excuses knocked off Rampage in the quarterfinals last year at Nationals. So that's a team to look out for as well. They can sneak up on you. They've been a contender down there in the South Florida Flag Football Association.
Okay.
A lot of good teams.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great tournament. And honestly, if it ends up being an open bracket, Ray, here's who else you could see. You could see the main event. You could see the Rhode Island Lions. You could see the Punishers. You could see the Rollers. You could see the Scorpions. You could see PME. You could see your old friends at Baez Auto. Or you could see the NTB Wolfpack. Imagine all of that together in one bracket.
I like it.
That's March Madness, but January.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too.
You don't
And
gotta,
what?
then you don't gotta win. You don't gotta win
What's
5
that?
games on Sunday.
I think so. Yeah, if you allow it 5 games on Sunday, 3 on Saturday or Friday too.
Man, them Sundays be killing me.
That's the thing
Having to
about
win
it, you know.
4 or 5 games.
And that's the thing. A lot of A teams don't ever play that many games on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Typically, at the A bracket, you're playing maybe 2 to 3 at most. Imagine a
That'd be
challenge of an open tournament where you got 36 teams potentially, maybe 24 make Sunday, and then you got to play 4 to 5 to win it all one Sunday, depending on how you do Friday and Saturday.
nice. Mm-hmm.
And with competition this stacked,
And that's where the depth comes in. That's where you need to have 30 guys out there on Sunday to be able to get the job done.
and that's the thing. I feel like that's going to be the hard part for a lot of these teams because, you know, Jamie talked about it. Travel is more than what it is now. It's going to be a harder trip to make down to Florida this time for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you want it, get it. We're all about the best of the best going out to play the best.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just a good time down there. Like, I know a lot of the guys go down with their families and make like a vacation out of it. So,
And that's the thing, too. Like, you know, Nationals, it's intended to be fun, too. You can go out there, go hit up Disney about an hour away, go to Universal. You can get a beach house somewhere near, or not a beach house, but like one of those houses to stay at nearby. There's a lot to do. You could go play in other styles up the road if you feel like doing that. You know, I believe it was Orion Jones who told me on Blunt Talk 2 years ago, your teammate on Bad Boys. He played 27 games one weekend at Nationals.
yeah, I can't do that. Ain't no way. My arm would be done for the rest of the year. But Orion's young too. He's only like, I think he told me this weekend he's only like 25, so he can still do that.
It's crazy how gifted he is and how talented he is. That catch he had in the back of the end zone is the catch.
Yeah, that was a hell of a catch, and they thought you didn't catch it. He definitely caught that.
And I was very thankful that I changed positions and moved down to the end zone for that shot because I had the best view you could possibly get of the feet hitting it.
Yeah, you got the best look at it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, Joey, I'm about to get going. I gotta take this dog out before I get to bed, man.
Yeah, I gotta do the same thing a little bit later on.
All right, man. I appreciate you having me.
All right, Ray. Thanks for coming on.
Talk to y'all later.
Talk to you later.